Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you are brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another apartment renovation. And we are back in Evergreen Harbor at the Stonestreet Apartments, number 3. If you guys are wondering, that is where you can place this apartment if you do want it in your game. But I am building an apartment today for a single dad and his 2 sons. I think it was either in my Discord or in the comments on some other video. Someone had recommended just an apartment for a single dad, and I ended up feeling pretty inspired to do that a couple of days ago. So I went ahead and made this, and I really like it. I kind of went out of my comfort zone. At least it feels that way. You guys probably won't see really any differences in how I decorated this compared to any other build, but I don't know, I just used some curtains that I haven't used in some time, and I ended up going for a very blue theme. Even though right now it looks very green and brown, I end up changing the swatch of those couches from Seasons to a blue swatch just because I haven't used it very often, and I really liked how it looked with those curtains. And oddly enough, I don't like those curtains very much, so using them throughout the entirety of this build was actually a bit unusual for me, but I feel like it came together really nicely. It seemed really cozy, and I don't know, I just really liked it. I probably wouldn't mind living here at all, and this is basically the living space, as you probably could have guessed, and I end up cluttering it up quite a bit, not to the point that it's looking messy, but it definitely looks lived in my opinion. So I put a few clutter items on this bookshelf, which I did playtest, and your Sims will probably have issues getting to that bookcase just because of the console table, but there is another bookcase that they can access, so that one's more so for looks. But there is a little toy chest here, and then on the coffee table I actually stack a few different books, and I put some laundry details on the couch so it looks as though Dad was maybe trying to like fold laundry or something as he got the kids ready to go to school and for him to go to work, and he just didn't make it to putting away all the clothes or something like that. It just adds to, I think, a little bit of realism in The Sims, and that's something that I really appreciate being able to do at times. I don't always strive for that level of detail, but I don't know, I just felt very inspired to do it here, and I don't know why. So thank you to whomever actually gave me that suggestion. If you know who you are, yeah, just thank you for the suggestion, and I am glad I went through with it, and I hope that you like it. And actually on that note too, I've noticed that a lot of you guys have been giving me different build suggestions, which I do really, really appreciate. I'm always open to suggestions and sparks for inspiration. However, just know that I don't do a lot of build requests at all. I just don't really have the ability to kind of filter through anything like that, but I do browse comments and the area on my Discord for video ideas quite often for at least little sparks of inspiration. So thank you guys so much for continuously leaving those things and giving me cool ideas and different like family dynamics to think of, because sometimes it's, I don't know, it's a little bit challenging, and I feel like I either go very stereotypical like nuclear family, which does not represent, you know, a majority of the families, at least in, you know, like the US or something like that. But I don't know, I'm always open to new ideas, so I really appreciate that. But we are working on the kitchen at the moment, and I used these base game counters, which are my favorite base game counters that we have in game. Any of the swatches really I enjoy. Yeah, maybe not the white ones. I don't like the white ones that much. Have you guys noticed actually in a lot of the base game items, the white like wood textures and whatnot almost have like a bluish tint to them, or they almost look too gray? I've noticed that at least in the wood textures. So like for these cabinets and counters, that's what I noticed. So I don't like using them very much, but I love this swatch here, and I just wanted to make it look, again, really lived in. So I add these little sticky notes or little like reminders of doctor's appointments or homework help, like homework slips or something like that. I don't know. And there was also the decorative plate that had like a little rocket ship painted on it. So I was thinking that this single father's kids are, one is actually a child and one is actually a toddler. So I'm thinking that the older son is maybe 9, something along those lines, like maybe 9-ish, almost preteen age. So he's still really into a lot of kid things, but he's starting to mature a little bit more. And then the toddler isn't, you know, like a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, maybe like 3. Is that still considered a toddler? I don't really know. It's so hard to gauge ages in The Sims with the life stages we have sometimes, but that's what I was kind of envisioning. So more of like an independent toddler, because they are nearing childhood, I suppose, and then a child that's actually nearing preteenhood. It's really weird to say, but I'm working on the dining room right now, which is very, very minimally decorated. At least for me, it felt that way. I usually go crazy with clutter and decorations, so I kind of pulled back a little bit here. There's just the mirror, and I used one of the round dining tables, and then I end up removing that shelf and just putting these two plants in the corners because I thought it looked nice. And then they have the two china cabinets as well. I was trying to figure out a centerpiece, but this just didn't really work for me, so I think I just put one single candle in the center. I thought it looked really nice, and I went in the debug menu as well and pulled out the place settings from Parenthood 2 because I just didn't really feel like doing it in live mode. To be honest, I didn't feel like having my playtest sim do that, so I went ahead and pulled them out of debug, which worked great. And then there is this little kind of, it's like barely a hallway, but essentially it's just a little divided area where there's access to the two bedrooms that are in this apartment. And what's really nice too is I was able to get two bathrooms. I wanted there to be a bathroom for the kids and for there to be a bathroom for dad, so they didn't have to just share one bathroom. And that to me was definitely a luxury in this space. I feel like the apartments in Evergreen Harbor are more so a realistic size than the ones in San Myshuno, but even that's a stretch because like the ones in San Myshuno are totally not realistic, except for maybe one or two units that are small. But the ones in Evergreen Harbor are a little bit more realistic, I guess. And that was my thought, is that this was definitely a luxury that they were able to get like a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment and really kind of separate their living spaces, especially as the older son becomes a preteen and, you know, enters teenagehood probably in the next 5 years or something. He's going to want a little bit more privacy. Kind of stinks that he has to share a room with his much younger brother is what I'm assuming, but you know, that's the way it works. And this is Dad's bedroom here. It is very plainly decorated, but he does have a desk and a computer. And I've put a couple of stacks of university notebooks around this apartment because I'm thinking that Dad is actually in some kind of science track for his career, but he's also going back to school, maybe part-time, to kind of do some continuing education in some way, shape, or form. He's not like super, super busy. It's not like he's really like pulling to make ends meet. He's very successful and they do live very comfortably, but they just don't live outside of their means. And maybe he is trying to advance in his career or something like that, which is why he's going back to school. But now we are working on the boys' bathroom. So it is decorated for kids. I mean, let's just be real. And that little stool there, I was picturing it was like the little step stool for the toddler because he's probably too little to get to the sink on his own. So they were able to get a step stool so he could be a little bit more independent in washing his hands and stuff. Though I think it would probably block your Sim's access to that sink potentially. So it might have to just be removed, but I did like it for the sake of screenshots. And then there's just like a little rubber ducky in the shower tub combo. And then I do Dad's bathroom as well. Since I was at it, I didn't want to save the bathroom for last because they're honestly a bit boring, at least to me. And Dad's is very similarly decorated, just without the kid touch, but they've got blue towels and that's about it. There's really nothing special. And then we move on to the boys' room, which I adored. I did something a little bit different here, is I ended up putting some cabinets down on the floor and put the bed right next to it. So it's kind of like this built-in storage unit to the bed, and I thought it tied in nicely with the drawers that are on the bottom of this bed. And I decorate the entire top here with just like kids clutter, like toys, and there's a stereo, I think some different like figurines and birthday cards and books and like a picture frame, and it just gave me a chance to clutter up this room so much without making it way too cramped. And since there's 2 kids in here, I did want there to be the ability to change the toddler bed over to a twin size bed, right? So just like the regular single bed. And I didn't want that to be so hard with having to move a bunch of things around. So I kind of crammed a lot over here with the older brother. And it came out really nice. I actually really like how it looked, and I'll probably be doing that cabinet trick a little bit more with some different kinds of rooms just because it looks like it's added storage. And I just thought it looked really cozy. It's like he's got his own little nook in that corner, and then his little brother has his own little nook separated by that wardrobe. So I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think of that setup though, and kind of how it looks. I think I shared a picture of it over in my Discord, and people did seem to think that it looked pretty good, so I decided to keep it. But I'd be interested to hear what you guys think as well. And then we're just wrapping up the little toddler section over here. He does have this little side table, and he actually has a couple of photos above that side table, as well as a shelf above his bed. And the shelf is actually one from Eco Lifestyle, which I haven't really been able to use too much. I've used it maybe once or twice, but I haven't used it very often because I don't know, the swatches either don't fit in or it just is too big. So I actually shrunk it down by one using the shift bracket key. And then I just added a couple of clutter items on it. I wish that I had found something or thought of something to look as though it was hanging off of those hooks, but the only thing I could think of was like the backpack, and I didn't think the toddler had a backpack quite yet, so I just didn't do it. But yeah, I just thought it was really, really sweet. I really liked the toddler corner, and for having to share a room with like a kid and a toddler, I thought it gave each of them enough space to kind of like be away from each other. You know what I mean? Like the toddler could go ahead and play on his side of the room, and the kid could be totally entertained, just like watching TV or playing with some toys or reading or whatever the case is. And yeah, I don't know. I just hope you guys really like it because I loved this kids room so much. Kids rooms are probably one of my favorite rooms that I love doing. So it's always really fun to go crazy with clutter and personalization in that way. But we are coming up to the end of the video very, very soon. So I hope you guys did enjoy this. I very much look forward to hearing your thoughts, and I will catch you guys next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
For a while, thought that a couple of drinks could ease my mind. I've been thinking of you for 2 weeks straight. I know that I need to get myself back in the game. Someone said your name had a turn around. Suddenly you're there standing in the crowd. Everything comes back in the blink of an eye. It's like you're mine, you're still mine. They skip the small talk, cause you know me better than I know myself. Oh, mine's been a while now since I saw you, but it feels like yesterday somehow. Time has stopped, nothing's changed, we're the same. And we skip the small talk, cause you know me